All right, guys and girls, we are live. We are ready to rock. We're not quite ready to rock. We're going to wait a few minutes for people to jump in, a couple minutes here, and then we'll get started at the top of the hour. Candace has already jumped in, which is awesome. Appreciate you showing up, Candace. Hello from DC Haulers in Colorado. We've got 4 people on. Where is everybody from? Can you hear me? How's the sound? How's the audio? How's the video? Do all the housekeeping checks here. Then I'll do a little countdown, and then we'll get rocking and rolling. Throw the logo up in the corner there. Awesome. Who can hear me? Can you hear me? Drop it in the comments if you could. Someone that would be absolutely incredible. Just to let me know if you can hear me and if we are rocking and rolling. All right, we just hit top of the hour. We got 4 people on. I just need a confirmation that we've got audio here because I don't want to talk for an hour without being able for you guys able to hear me. All right, we've got Pride and Service in the house. We've got Seven Hills Holloway. We've got Wesley. Awesome, brilliant, guys. Appreciate you showing up. We're going to do a quick 30-second countdown, and then we're going to roll right into the goodness. All right, I'll see you on the other side. All right, it's go time. We've got 6 people in the house. We're going to rock and roll. We're going to get going. My name's Lewis, and we are going to talk about how you can own your online space here today. So I'm excited for this one. Put this together. We've got, hopefully some levity, some fun, and at the very least, I want you guys to walk away with one thing. There's a lot of nuggets in here, but I think that everyone should be able to get one nugget from today on how you can own your online space. There's a lot of availability out there for you to rock and roll with your business. I think I mentioned this in the presentation, but I am a firm believer that online you can show up quite quickly looking like a 50 to 100-year-old business. There's a lot of businesses out there that have been around for 5 or 10 years and they kind of have a measly online presence. Well, you can come in and you can be that person that, pops up out of nowhere, if you will, and just rocks out in your local market. So without further ado, let's get going. All right. So I'm going to jump right in here. We've got some shocking news for you, for some people. And this was inspired by some calls I've had recently. This whole webinar is inspired by some calls I've had recently, but I've got some shocking news for you, and that is that just a website is not enough. Now, this is not a sales pitch for SEO or ads. We're actually going to go into things that you can do that actually, if you do this well and if you take action, you may not even need an agency like us to do it. So I'm going to be giving away some free game here for you guys and really hope to have something that you can walk away and rock out. And then, when it comes too much for you to do, then yeah, come on over to us and we'll help. But the key takeaway here is just a website is not enough. You can't just put a website up and hope that it's suddenly going to change the course of your business. We're going to get to it here in a second. Spoiler alert, it's a foundational piece of your strategy. All right, but there is hope. There is hope. We're not going to just throw out websites. We're not going to just say that they're absolutely useless, because they're absolutely not. But we're going to get into how you can turn your website into something that is a foundational piece that allows you to funnel your marketing through and funnel people to and get leads coming through. So want to shout out people here. We've got Candace, we've got Jordan, we've got Alex, Wesley. Appreciate you guys rocking out. If you guys could, in the comments, just let me know where you're from. Let me know what state, what city you're from. I'm in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and looking forward to chatting with you today. So we covered, we can't just rely on our website as the only thing, but there is hope. So what can you expect today? First of all, you can expect too many gifts. And I want you guys also just to kind of keep everyone active, keep everyone engaged. Is it GIFs or GIFs? I want everyone to just start arguing in the comments. That would be awesome. Jordan's out of Aurora, Colorado. Awesome. So what can you expect today? Too many gifts. We're going to quickly go over who I am and what Blue Crocus does. We're going to talk about how to leverage one action to really make your business visible online. And again, spoiler alert, it does have to do with utilizing your website as a foundation. But we're going to get through that. We're going to get tactical. We're going to have fun. And hopefully you guys are going to come away with some clarity on things that you can do, whether you're working with an agency like us or whether you are just working to build out your business and absolutely dominate your market online. Awesome. We've got Wesley in Longmont there. Beautiful. All right. So we're gonna dive in here. Now, I do need to warn you, if you do these things, you will see success. And why do I put that as a warning? I want it to be a bit of a pattern interrupt here. There's lots of webinars. There's lots of people out there putting out information. I don't want this just to be another webinar. I want you to come away with something that you can take action on. And I know that if you take action on this, there's a very high chance that you're going to crush your market. You're going to do really well in your market. You're going to see more people knowing who your business is, knowing what you do. You're going to, this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, you're going to be answering the questions that they have before they even know that they have them. And that's going to lead to them calling you. You go out for a quote, you go out and do the job. So keep that in mind. You know, use this webinar at your own risk. Rock up here. I'm going to probably get you a little bit uncomfortable, but if you take action on these things, there's going to be some fun stuff that happens. All right. So who am I? I am Lewis. I'm a husband to an amazing wife, and I'm a circus leader along with her to 4 kiddos. We've got 4 kids under 5. It's wild. It's fun. It's awesome. Here's our youngest. We're out for a rainy walk about a month ago. I have a background in construction and trade. So I grew up on a farm, grew up doing construction, did that for about 10 years, everything from roofing to pool installation to fence installation to you name it. Did a bunch of that. Then in 2019, started the agency, and we've built over 500 websites. We've helped over 200 clients with SEO. And my ultimate belief, which I already mentioned, is that you can look like a 50-year-old company in a short time. I'm also an avid lover of marketing. In fact, this is a book that is on my desk right now. You might not be able to see that super well. Let me just bring it up here, just so you guys can have a little nugget here. This was not in my plan, but I just looked at it as I was talking here. It's called Marketing Outrageously. And we've got a sumo wrestler dunking a basketball. I love marketing. I think it's super cool. It's super fun, super interesting. And that's what we're going to talk about today here is marketing, but that just gives you a little bit of an insight into my life. But check this book out, read it. There's going to be more hard-hitting truths in that book that you're going to have to take action on. But back to the webinar here. I'm a believer that you can look like a company that's been around forever in a very short amount of time. All right, trivia question. Let's see the comments here while we got this trivia question up here. We've got construction experience. Awesome. Yeah, miss it, to be honest. It was a really good time. Love what I'm doing now. It allows me the flexibility to do the circus, have the kids and have the family, but love construction. So trivia question for you guys here. I didn't get much action on the GIF versus GIF, but let's see if we can get some action in the comments on who was the first web designer. A little bit of a trivia question there, and I'll answer that in a few slides for you. All right, so we talked about this quickly in the intro. A website is not enough. A website is not going to be the be-all, end-all. I talk about this to people on sales calls all the time, on consults all the time. We talk about this with our clients. Just having a website is not enough. A website is an online business card. It can be a lot more than that, but if you just build a website and you just plunk it out there on the internet, it's just going to sit there and it's not going to do a whole lot for you. It's not going to, Google might pick it up. Google might get some people looking at it. But if you're not consistently building it out, if you're not consistently adding value, if you're not consistently doing the things that we're going to talk about in this webinar, then you're wasting the opportunity. You've probably invested a bunch of money into it if you're having an agency like us to build it, or you've invested a bunch of time and confusion and headache if you're doing it yourself. But just a website is not enough. Now, coming from me that might be a bit of a weird thing to hear, given that we build websites, we do SEO, that sort of thing. But I want to reset your thinking. If you're someone that says, "Hey, I've got a website. Why the heck are people not calling me? Why are people, build it and they will come, right?" But that's not always the case. And again, that's coming from a guy who would love to sell you a website if it makes sense, but it doesn't always make sense at every point in your business. I am a firm believer that you need to have a website as a foundation, which we'll get to here. But I want to reset your thinking that just having a website isn't enough. There is a analogy that I like to use, the hunter versus gatherer analogy. There's people who are order takers. If you go to the mall and you buy something from the store, there's someone at the cash who's just there to take your order. They're just there to ring you in. They're there to tell you what your bill is, and you walk away happy with your new pair of jeans and your new shirt or whatever, right? Then there are people out there who are out there aggressively knocking doors, selling roofs, selling encyclopedias if we go way back in the day, selling phone plans, selling new gutters, whatever the case may be. Those people are hunting. Now, you may be a mix of both of those. I think it's awesome when you've got leads coming into you. You can just take the order, you can run up the bill, and you can rock it out. But I tend to lean on the path of how can you be a hunter? You don't always have to be knocking doors. But as we get into in this conversation here today and in this webinar, we're going to talk about how you can be a hunter in the way that you do your marketing. You can consistently be there when people are looking for answers and you're hunting. You're actively being that person. Kind of the hunter versus gatherer is active versus passive. So I want you guys to be thinking about how you can be active in your business. Some of the most incredible businesses in history have come out of recessions. A lot of business owners, when they look at, a new president's coming in, it's going to be awful or it's going to be great, depending on which side of the line you're on. You can have an amazing business at any point in history. And some of the biggest, best, most awesome businesses have come out of recession time. So it doesn't really, support the theory that the economy is what's driving business. It doesn't really support the theory that that's everything that you should be worrying about. I tend to believe that we make our own luck in life and in business. Everything is our fault, the good and the bad. And if we take accountability for our actions, there's a lot of good things that can come out. And if we're consistent with our actions, there's a lot of good things that can come. I'm going to give you some actions here today that you can take action on. So this is a foundation. Your website is the foundation of your online strategy. I'm not bashing websites. Again, I'd love to help you build a website if it makes sense and if you're at that point in your business, but you have to think about your website as a foundation. Then you're going to build walls, you're going to build a house, you're going to continue upkeep in the rooms, you're going to replace your roof every once in a while. You may have to reseal the windows and doors. You may want to do some renovations in the basement. These are all things that continue to add value to that house, continue to make it somewhere that someone wants to come over to party, make it somewhere that your kids want to come home after school, all of those good things. So your website is the foundation. Usually it looks a little bit nicer than this, hopefully, but it is a foundation, and you need to keep that in your mind when you're thinking about marketing and thinking about your online strategy. So I didn't get a ton of action on who the first web designer was, but it's a bit of a dad joke. The first web designer was a spider, guys. And here I've got a bit of a spider web. And you can think about your website here as the foundation. Then you've got your Google business profile. You've got your YouTube channel. You might be on TikTok. You don't necessarily have to be, but there's a lot of SEO power in there. We're not going to get too deep into that, but you can ask questions around that and I can answer what I know. You've got LinkedIn, you've got Facebook, you've got Pinterest, you've got Instagram, all online assets that can link back to your website as the foundation, as the place, the source of information for people to see. So on your Google business profile, you can be doing posts. On your YouTube channel, you can be answering questions and getting into some of the stuff that you guys do. TikTok, same thing. LinkedIn, you can be reaching out to commercial vendors, commercial people that might be good clients. Facebook, you can reach out to residential people that might be awesome clients. Pinterest is just a great SEO tool. Instagram as well is kind of the Facebook, Instagram, a little bit different demographic. But all of these, when people see your content, they're going to go and see, okay, awesome, this is a cool business. Maybe you go viral, maybe you don't, maybe you're just consistent in your market, which is sometimes better than being viral because you're actually hitting the target people that you want to be. But let's say you're consistent in your marketing. People are starting to see your stuff and then they're saying, who the heck is XYZ roofer? Or who the heck is, Bubba's Dumpsters? Or who is, Joe's plumbing services? And so then they're going to say, oh, I'm going to go to their profile. I'm going to go see, and then they're going to go to your website. They're going to see all the services you offer. They're going to see the foundation of your marketing system online at work. That is your website. So that's where you want to kind of think about it in terms of what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about some strategy. I promised some strategy. I promised some tactical stuff. I hope I've set this stage here in your mind and kind of piqued your interest around what it is that that you're doing here. I'll just hit the comments here real quick. We've got Candace just east of Denver, Colorado. We got some Coloradoans in the house here today. Love it. In the mix is from Charlotte. I'm blanking on who is behind the brand here. Drop it in the comments. I feel like I know, but I'm just blanking on who's behind the brand here. Charlotte's Web, I love it. Lancaster, PA, awesome to see you, Bill. So strategy incoming. We're going to get tactical. We're going to have fun, but I'm going to set some stage here again. So Joseph Hughes, I actually had him on the podcast, the Marketing Without Rules podcast. Shout out and a plug for that if you guys haven't watched the show or caught it. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple. But Joseph Hughes, I actually just saw this as I was finishing up the presentation today, and he is driving home something that we're going to be talking about here today. We're going to be talking about how you can leverage video, one simple video, to make content for all of those different platforms that we looked at. So when we talked about the web here, what if you could create one simple video that then turns into written content for your website, turns into content for YouTube, for your business profile, for all of these other channels? And we're going to get into some strategy around that, some tools that you can use here, and how you can bring that together. Oh, Marvin, there we go. Love it, Marvin. Awesome to have you here. And we've got A&J's removal. Love it. I was having a brain fart there, Marvin. Awesome to have you in the house. So let's dive in. Joseph's saying, by far, the most effective marketing strategy for a local contracting company is faces on video. Think about it. We buy from people. You buy from people. I buy from people. And if we can have a real face on a video telling us and answering some of our questions before we even reach out to them, or sharing some stories, or sharing some fun fact, or whatever the case may be, that builds trust in a way that we might not even subconsciously know. You might not even subconsciously know. I really pay attention to this stuff, and the people that have video, that have stories, that have those sorts of things out there, they build my trust a lot faster. And for context, I mentioned Joseph was on the podcast, but he is someone who's been in the contracting space for over 20 years in a family business. He's had a marketing training company for, I believe, over 10 years. So I might be a little bit off on the number there, but Joseph has been training companies how to train their own in-house marketers. So he's got a really, really good feel of hundreds of roofing companies and what works and what doesn't based on those clients that he's worked with. So as we talk about video, this might be you. When you see a phone, when you put it to selfie mode into video, you might clam up. You might be the person that just is like, man, there's no way I can do this. I'll do anything but getting on video. I would way rather, go grind my toenails with an angle grinder than get on video. That could be you. Or maybe this is you. Maybe you're someone that says, hey, I hate it, but I'm going to do it because I know how valuable it is. Because I've seen, again, this play out in the market. So whether you're someone that, would rather go grind your toenails with an angle grinder, I don't know where that analogy came from, but we're going to run with it. Or if you're someone that says, hey, I don't necessarily want to do it, but I'm going to do it because I know that this holds true. Whichever person you are, whichever one of those people you are, I encourage you to get out and at least listen to what I'm going to say, and then try it out and then come back and tell me, hey, I've done this and it just doesn't work, or hey, I've done this and it sucks, but it works. I'll tell you, these webinars here, just to give you guys some context, you've seen me. I think many of the people on this webinar have seen me on video before. I've been on video since 2020. When I first started doing podcasts and networking through podcasts and doing some live videos, I hated it. I got nervous. I got sweaty under the armpits. I stumbled over my words. But over time and over repetition, I got more comfortable with it. And now, leading up to this webinar, I was excited to come on and chat with you guys because I know that there's, one nugget that someone's going to take and it's going to change their business. But I had to go through those reps. Alex Hormozy is another entrepreneur that I follow, and he says everyone has 100 bad videos in them. I think that's true. I think there might be more for some of us. There certainly were for me. But everyone has bad videos in them. So the sooner you can get those reps done and get them out, the better. Now, this is a little graphic I put together. This might be you. You might be as nervous as a salmon in a bear hug just thinking about this. I'm harping on this because I think this is a big stumbling block, a big friction point for people in the industry. We come in as contractors, as people who were really good at a service or a product, and we said, hey, we're going to go out and become business owners. But then marketing just curls our toes, right? It's something that really, really is not fun. We're as nervous as salmon in a bear hug. It's not a great place to be, right? But get out there and do the work that's needed. We're gonna talk about some of the reasons why, but yeah, pull up your socks, buckle in, and we're gonna get tactical here now on some of those things that you can do and why it's important. So, as I mentioned, you can do one piece of content and then spread it out. So you can shoot one piece of content, and then we're going to talk about a software that's going to take that and turn it into written content. It's going to turn it into video content that's easily editable by you. You don't have to hire anybody to do it. And then we're going to talk about how you can put that on your website. You can put it on YouTube. Then you can embed the YouTube video on your website. And then you can put all those pieces of content out on social media. So let's dive in. But first of all, what do you talk about? What is it that you even talk about when we talk about that one piece of content? Where do you start? What do you even start to take video of to then process into those other pieces of content? I am a huge fan of Marcus Sheridan and his process. So you're here, you have no idea what to do. Here's another terrible meme for you to feast your eyes on. But this is you, and you're like, I have no idea what to do, and you don't know where to turn. So I'm going to present to you a solution. It is this book, and I'm going to break down the core concepts of this, not as well as he's going to do. I think you should read this book. I think that's number 2 book suggestion for this webinar. But They Ask You Answer is a brilliant book. One of the first ones I've read in marketing, and I've applied this in various levels through my business, through the junk removal business that we created back in 2021. But the book is called They Ask You Answer. It's by Marcus Sheridan. And a quick synopsis of his story is basically their pool company in 2008 was about to go under in the recession. And they lost, in the course of a week, they lost, I believe it was almost $500,000 in contracts just due to people pulling out due to the market and the economy. And he turned and he said, hey, there's no choice for me, but I have to make my own luck here. So what he started doing is he started writing blogs and doing video, answering people's questions. Every sales call that he went on, every quote that he went on, he would write down the questions that people had. And he would then come back and create content on that. Every night he'd write a blog post. Every night he'd write something or do a video explaining and answering the questions that he'd answered a million times already on sales calls, on quotes, and with customers. And he just started creating that content. So that's what you can do. So the simplest way to earn trust, drive traffic, and close more sales is the simple philosophy of, hey, if someone has asked you that question, create an answer for them and for the hundreds of other people that are going to come behind them that they can reference and that they might even read before they get to you. He got super granular with his tracking. And I remember in one story, I believe the woman's name was Maria. She and her husband were buying a pool. He went out for the quote process and the proposal, and he had seen on his tracking software that they had read 30 pages of blogs all about the questions that they were going to ask. So when he got there, he just gave them the proposal and they paid on the spot. They were sold before he even came in the door. So this is a powerful place to start with. So what is the main theory around it? They Ask You Answer is, answer your customers' real questions, answer them openly, honestly, and here's the real kicker: answer them better than anyone else in your market answers them. If we go back to SEO terminology, which we do and I talk a lot about, SEO is a relative sport. Marketing in your local area is a relative sport. Relative in the sense that your competitors are the ones that you're competing with, whether you're friendly with them or not, which I would recommend you be friendly with them. You are competing ultimately for the business of the person who's looking for a new pool or for junk removal or for plumbing services. And if you can be the person that answers the questions better than anyone else, you've built more trust than anyone else by the time you go out to quote that job. You've built more trust on Google from an SEO perspective. You've built more trust in the mind of the consumer from a sales perspective. There's a lot of magic that can happen through this process. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself on the slides as I go, but we're on a roll here. So again, this is why it works. Buyers don't just trust companies. You could have the best brand in the world, but if you're not answering people's questions, if you're not answering the things that they have questions about, imagine if you went to a sales consult or a quote, they were asking questions and you just didn't have answers for them. That'd be pretty sus, right? They probably wouldn't really want to purchase your services or use you as a company. So people trust teachers. They trust the people that when they have that question of, hey, how does this process work? I've got a dumpster that I need dropped off and I'd love for you guys to do it, but do I need to be there? Do I need a permit for it? Do I need, all these things that they have questions about? And if you can't answer those questions, they're left with more confusion than they started. If, in Marvin's case, you were talking to a property manager and they're wondering how the process goes of a parking lot that needs seal coating. What does that look like? How do we arrange for that? Do you guys do it? Oh, you do it at night and it's only going to take like half a day to cure before they can get on, this part of the parking lot. Awesome. That's great. He's built trust now with the client on the process so that they can get in, they can keep going with their life. They can answer the questions they have before they decide on who they're going to use. So become the number one educator in your space and in your market. Become the go-to brand because you've answered those questions. All right, so Marcus lays out a few things in the book. The number one is price. And price is a really finicky thing for a lot of people to talk about on their website. If you go to our website right now, you can see all our prices for SEO websites, backlinking, logos, even a consult call with me if you want. We've laid it out. I've tried to get really transparent, inspired 100% by reading this book. Can our competitors go on there and see our prices? Absolutely. They can do the same thing by talking to people that have talked to me for a sales consult. I've gotten pricing from other agencies by just asking someone, hey, what did someone else quote you? So they can get that answer anyway. So why use the little small, aspect of a competitor knowing your pricing when the pricing of exactly what you do has already become a trust factor for someone when they go to your website. It's also an SEO factor. The more transparent you are about your cost, the more Google knows what to serve up for people when they're telling about, what does junk removal cost in Charlotte? What does XYZ, cost when someone's trying to get a roof? All of that. So talk about your pricing. You don't necessarily have to put your hard and fast costs on your website or in your videos, but talk about what goes into pricing. When you're seal coating a parking lot, is it just the square footage, or is it the amount of cracks that need repaired? Or is it, in the junk removal, is it how far you have to walk? Is it how many stairs you have to go up? Like, how do you price it? That's a question that people have, and they don't know that because they don't do junk removal. So in your videos, talk about this, and we're going to get into it, but just to kind of cast the vision down the line here is you're going to create a video on how much does it cost to remove a hot tub? You're going to talk through all the things, how much it generally costs, what goes into the cost, what goes into the pricing, and then what can affect those prices. What can make those prices go up and down? What might save a client some money, so on and so forth. Then you're going to talk about problems. So in the case of a dumpster rental, what might be a problem that you run into as a business or as a consumer? Hey, if we come to drop off your dumpster and there is a car in the way, that's going to really put a wrench in our plans. So one of the things we need you to do is tell us where you want it and then make sure there's no blockage. We have easy access to get in. There's a lot of things that you can do to ease people's minds before they get in. If someone's calling us about SEO, how long does SEO take? Well, it takes 3 to 6 to 9 months, depending on the competition in your area. That's a question that everybody asks. So we've created a video on that. What's the ROI of SEO? I've created a video on that. These are things that you can do to ease people's minds. And even when you're on a sales call or a quoting call, they might ask the question, you might answer it and then say, hey, I'm going to send you some follow-up info of stuff that we've put together, a couple of videos that I did answering this exact question. You can save this. You can then take it to your wife when she's wondering, what the heck did you talk to that salesperson about? Or that person who came out for a quote, and then you can show it to her. She's like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. And so now you've got a sales asset that's selling for you 24/7. It's doing your follow-ups, doing all of that. Comparisons are another one. With Marcus's company, he did, what's the best fiberglass pool versus, or what's better, fiberglass versus concrete. Maybe in Marvin's case, it would be, is it better to repave a parking lot or is it better to seal coat it? What's better? Hint, seal coating can save a lot of money and it can make it last longer. Those are the sorts of things you can talk about in your videos. Reviews. Talk about your reviews. Talk about the people that you've done work with. Talk about the job that you did. Talk about the things that you ran into, issues if there were any. Talk about, hey, this is the Google review. We'll just read that off and show people what it was like when Sally called us for tree removal. Those are things that you can talk about. And then best of. So he would actually do roundups. We've done this a couple times. I've done some articles on the best top 5 junk removal marketing companies because we do a lot of work in that space. For our clients, we've done, best plumber in Blue Springs, Missouri. We've done some different roundups. And of course, you include your business in there, but people can also see it's your business on the website. So don't just include yourself as number one because that's a little bit tongue in cheek, but include yourself and say, hey, of course, we're going to include ourselves in this list because that's what we offer. But we want you to kind of see the pros and cons of the different ones locally. I have been talking out of my face for a second here. Let's drop in the comments. What is the most shocking about what I've discussed so far? Who has pricing on their website? Just wet my whistle there. All right, so here's some examples of this. Here's Mitch Smedley. He did a video on what toilet should I buy. So he tested a bunch of different toilets. And he ran them through some pretty rigorous stuff, including pool balls and so on. This is 1-800-GOT-JUNK, the OG junk removal company that paved the way for every single junk removal company out there. He's got a very simple video on exactly how their process works. Awesome. Jordan's got their pricing. Yeah, that's great. I remember putting that on there. Jordan's got some pricing on his website. It's really, really good to have. But 1-800-JUNK is walking it through. I think this is covered up a little bit by my face there, but how much do in-ground pools cost in 2025? Your in-depth guide. This is straight from Marcus Sheridan's website, actually. The guy who wrote They Ask, You Answer. Cheapest in-ground pool, fiberglass, vinyl, concrete. Concrete pools versus fiberglass pools. I just pulled a few examples. There's a lot of people that do this well. Here's another one from Mitch on how much does it cost to replace my sewer line? Breaking down the pricing and analyzing, what the different things are that go into it. And then we actually took, so in Mitch's case, he's an SEO client. So we actually took these and we turned them into blog posts and into some other assets, which we'll get into in a second on how you can do that quite simply. Awesome. So Jordan's got pricing on his site. Fantastic. These are some examples here. We'll keep rocking. So to sum it up, what you're going to do for content is you're going to just listen to your customers. You're going to listen to all the things that you tell your customers every time they ask a question. You're going to listen to the questions they ask, the comments that they bring up, the little things that seem really easy to you. But if you were training someone on your sales team, what would all the things be that you trained them on the answers? These are all things that you can use for content. So listen to your customer, create a video per question, and then publish it to your site. And we'll get through that here in a second. So you've got your video. Caleb, yes, it is. It's going to be recorded on YouTube, which is where you're watching it right now. And then we'll actually turn this into a blog post actually off of this, but you'll be able to see it, this same link on YouTube. All right, so we're gonna jump back into the tactical part now that we've kind of explained how, I guess one aspect of the tactical recipe here. You've got a video. So let's say we're doing a video on how to, how to get a quote. Some people have pretty complicated quote forms. Maybe you do a video on that process, or how much does it cost to get a dumpster? Let's go with that one, right? So you've got that, and now where do you put it? How does that all happen, and how do we get it out to all of these different social media platforms? So we've done the video. Now we're going to turn that into written content and into an edited video that we can actually post. Because you might, when you're doing the video, and this is actually a little bit of a tip that I learned from someone who was teaching me how to do video content. When you're recording video, unless you're doing it live, but when you're recording it, say, hey, here's a question that I got from, and then you stumble over your words and you get a little awkward, and then you just restart. You take a little break. So here's a question that I got from someone in Broward County about what the process for dumpster removal looks like. What does it look like when we come out and then you say, oh man, I wish I hadn't kind of gone that. So you pause, then you restart. He was wondering specifically what it looked like to have us drop it off. What does that process look like? And then you go on and you carry on with that and you run through. And what I did and what I want you to notice is every time I messed up, I would just pause and then I would restart, either redo the sentence or kind of wind back and say the same thing over again. And then you can easily edit that in your video after. And it just makes it easy for whether you have an editor or a software like I'm going to show you here. So you've got your video on the topic we've discussed, which is, what is it like when you get a dumpster? Okay, Candace, sorry, I read the comment here. Candace says, we don't have it visible. They have to go through the online booking flow to see pricing. I would definitely recommend a page that talks about what can affect pricing. Having people have to go through an online flow can lead to some drop off. But back to here. So you've got your video, and now you want to turn it into written and video content. You're going to use a software called Descript. It's fairly inexpensive, and what it is it actually allows you to edit your video based on the text. So what it is, you're going to upload the video. You're then going to get a transcript of the video, and you're going to actually be able to go in and edit that transcript or cut and remove words, and it's going to edit the video based on what you cut and removed. It's really fantastic. So you can trim space at the beginning, you can cut out ums and ahs, you can cut out that space, you can go replace that whole sentence that I just messed up on. You're going to do that. You're going to turn it into written content. You're going to edit it, using its text editor. And then now you've got a written piece of the raw video, and then you've got a video piece. And now you can take that written piece, and I didn't include it here, but you can throw that into ChatGPT and expand on it a little bit or tune it up a little bit to make it awesome. You're then going to put that on your website as a blog post or maybe a section in your page, a service page, wherever it's applicable. And right then and there, all you've done is you've taken a quick video, answered a question that someone asked, which you do all the time. So the only extra step there is you're just videoing it. Now you've got it there forever. You've then turned that into written content and a lightly edited video. You put it on your website, which is fantastic for SEO. Get that page indexed, get it, interlinked to your page, all that, stuff. If you're looking for specifics on that, our last webinar, just reach out and I can send you our last webinar, but it was on all that sort of stuff on your website. So now you've got it on your website. You're also going to put the video on YouTube, and you're going to embed that on your website, complementary to the text. Some people like reading text, some people like watching a video. Google likes seeing both, and then interconnecting these two properties, the video from YouTube to your website and your website to YouTube, is a way that you have actually a chance of showing up and ranking for the video and for the video on YouTube and for the page that you just wrote on your website. Then you're going to also post that blog post or that page to Facebook. You're going to say, hey, here's a question that Billy from Broward County asked us. He said, what does it look like when you come and actually drop off a dumpster? What do I have to expect? What do I have to have prepared? And you can even get ChatGPT to take your transcript and turn it into a social media post. You're going to share the post. You're going to drop the link to the blog post in the comments of that post on Facebook. You're going to do the same thing on LinkedIn, because those are the two most common written post avenues for social media. And now you're linking back to your website. You're getting potentially more eyes. So you can post this from your personal page, from your business page on Facebook. You can share it into community groups as a, hey, here's a non-salesy post from our business that talks about what the process for a dumpster rental looks like. If anybody was wondering, this is what it looks like for us. This is pretty common for a lot of other industries. They're going to go read that. They're going to probably watch your video. They're then going to go to your website, and boom, you've just gotten more traffic back to your website. You've got a potential customer going and checking out what you're doing. You've got Google and Facebook driving traffic to your website, and Google can see the activity on Facebook. It might even rank that post on Facebook in the Google search results. The same thing for LinkedIn. There's just a lot of magic that can happen there. And this is all off just one piece of content. One piece of content answering a question that you already know people ask. Then you can share the video out to TikTok, Instagram. You can actually share the video to your Google business profile as well. And then wherever else you share videos, go crazy. There's a million different places you can, but I chose some of the bigger ones here. So to recap, what we did is we took a video, we then used Descript, and we edit it into text, and we also edit it using the text editor in Descript. I'll actually jump in and show you a thing if we have some time here on how that works, because it kind of blew my mind when I first saw it. And then you put it on your website as a blog post. You put the video on YouTube and you linked back to your blog post. Then you embedded it on your blog post. You shared that to LinkedIn, to Facebook, and then you shared the video to the other video sharing platforms. Now, I went through some of this as I was talking, but why go to this trouble? Well, the obvious answer is, if nothing else, if there's no other benefits, having these assets on your website and on Facebook and on YouTube and everything are really valuable for being 24/7 salespeople for your business. People having the same questions that, Billy Bob from Broward County had. People have those questions. They're going to see it, the answer to their question. They'll be like, oh, it's not nearly as complicated as I thought. I can just call up, Broward County Dumpster and get it done. So more action online is good for your business. It's going to drive traffic to your website, which we talk about here. But Google sees that action. Every place that your business gets mentioned or a business asset has action happening, whether you get a lot of comments on your Facebook posts, it will actually sometimes rank that as a search result. Crazy stuff, right? Remember, it's not all about your website. Your website's the foundation, but your website was the foundation, which then posted to Facebook, which then is getting a lot of action, which might actually rank. Crazy stuff. More traffic to your website is better for SEO. The more people that come to your website, check out what you're doing, Google can see all of that stuff. And it looks at it and it says, oh, wow, people are interested. People are coming and spending some time on your website. People are coming and answering or reading the answers to their questions. This is awesome. This website must be something that's valuable. And so it starts showing it higher in search. Better SEO plus more eyeballs equals more sales. And more sales is always more better. So to recap, guys, we're going to take a video, we're going to process it, post it out. So you've done one piece of work plus a little bit of editing, and you can find some excellent people online, Philippines, India, onlinejobs.ph if you don't want to do it yourself. Some excellent people to do this minor editing if you don't want to do it. But you've done one piece of video, it's taking you 5 minutes, and now you've got a blog post and social media posts coming out, from everywhere, right? So more sales is more better. That's, the ultimate reason that we're doing all of this. So this is all fine and good, but if you don't go out and take action on this, then you've just wasted, 40 minutes of your time listening to me blabber about a topic I'm really passionate about. But nonetheless, it's not going to do anything to your bottom line. So I'd really encourage you to take, do one video a week. Start writing down the questions. I guess I missed that as a bullet point, but start writing down the questions that people are asking when you're out doing quotes, when they're calling in, when they're, reaching out to you on your website. What are the questions that they're asking? Turn those into videos. And then if nothing else, pick one platform that you share that written or video content on. Then later on, you can always come back and share them out on the other platforms. But do this consistently, and there's some really cool stuff that can happen for your business. All right, that's me. That's the run through. Any questions from the crowd? We had a pretty good retention here. I think 15, 20 people were on here most of the time. So must not have completely bored you out of your minds, which is awesome. But any questions that I can answer, or anything that we can kind of rock through here to make it even more clear for you how this process works, or answer any questions for you. Drop them in the comments. This part, we'll rock through. I'm going to pull up Descript while I'm waiting here. And it will rock it out. I'm actually going to log into our account here and see if I can just show you guys live. Candace says, we don't have it visible. We already talked about that. She says, you are making me rethink this. I love it. That's, if this can change, if one person takes action on this, I'll be thrilled. I'd love to hear about it. All right. So I'm going to try and find one here that I'm not going to destroy what the team's doing. So can you show what the edit site logo looks like? Jordan, I'm not quite sure Here, I'll share my screen. I've got Descript pulled up here. I'm assuming you mean this here. So Descript here. Yeah, so it's called Descript, descript.com. I'll drop it in the comments here, and I'm not sure it'll post to all platforms, but I'll put it up as a comment that you guys can see. So descript.com should be there on your screen. It's a little bit small there, but basically you can go in, you can edit it using video. What's the pricing anyway? It's been a second since I looked at that. $16 a month. Crazy cheap for an editing software. I'm someone that doesn't have video editing background. So for example, I did a video. This is something we do with our SEO clients where I'll go through and I'll just do it like an interview with them for like 40 minutes, asking them a bunch of questions. Here's a section that the team has pulled out specific to hot tubs. And let's say I didn't like this part of it. I can take this and I can just delete it. And it's automatically snipped that out of the video. I can take this and I can say, that specific section I don't like, and I can just backspace and take that out. Maybe I don't want that at the end. So now I've just trimmed this video way down. I've taken out some stuff. It can auto edit some stuff for you as well. It can also, and this is pretty crazy, but you can actually do it too where, and it's been a second since I did it, but in the editing, I can actually take this and I can say, and if you are, there's a way you can do this. I don't think I'm in the right setting here, but I could add text in here. And if you didn't do it too long, it would actually just put it in either mine or Sean's voice. It's got an AI thing that can rock that out. So really, really cool. But just for, chopping and splicing, obviously our team has edited this and then put it into script for a little bit of editing. You can get transcripts off of here really easily. You can do the live editing, like I said, just chop this video down, so on and so forth. It looks like I can also Control Z all of those edits too, so the team won't hate me. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff. And then any content that you do. So for example, this webinar, I'm going to take this webinar and I'm going to throw it into Descript, and then I'm going to turn it into a blog post on our website. So you can see our website here. We've got our pricing there. We've got all our podcasts. We turn them into blog posts. So we'll run them through the transcript through Descript, and then we'll edit it slightly with ChatGPT to turn it into a blog post. And you can do the same exact thing. Descript also has like a content editing thing here. Let me see here. I'm trying to find the last webinar that I did. But here's one. I answered this question for a client on what's the difference between no follow and do follow backlinks. And then we threw it in Descript, did some quick editing, and then wrote a blog post here. So now our sales team, myself, we can rock this out and send it to whoever we want as an asset if they have that question. So if we're chatting with someone on Facebook or in the Facebook groups, I can just drop this blog post in and automatically I get more content and more views. For example, Candace, I see your question. I'll get to that here in a second. So for example, there in the debacle back in, when was it that we got? So I'm on our Blue Crocus website here, and you can see we had a ton of clicks right around here. So this was back in February, and this was when Google was losing reviews from people's websites, or sorry, from their Google business profile. So Google was taking down reviews, and actually it turned out to be mostly a miscount. But back when that was happening, I did a few YouTube videos on that and got a ton of traffic to our website. We had got some clients off of it, but I just put out a piece of content answering questions that people were asking me the same question, and it was blowing up my inbox. And so I said, hey, I'm just going to put together a video. Then when they ask that question, I'll shoot it over, and then they're good to go. So that was really great. So Candace says, does it make a difference if it's our personal face versus like an animated video? Oh, Candace, that's a great question. Yes, it absolutely does. Would you rather buy from someone who has a personal video, or would you rather buy from someone who has an animation? I'm not hating on animations completely, but even the owner of the founder of 1-800-JUNK has a video of himself talking on the video. This is someone who's worth, I actually don't know how much he's worth, but he's worth a ton. How much is Brian Scudamore worth? He is worth, he might be a billionaire. That just took me to a super sketchy site. I'm doing it on my other screen here, but looks like, yeah, almost a billion, if not a billion. But he's got a video of his face on the website because he knows how valuable it is to have his face on there when people are looking. His video is great, by the way. If you're in junk removal, if you're in any business, go check out his video. River Pools and Spas is another one. That is a company that Marcus was involved in. I don't believe he's involved in it anymore, but that's the one that the guy who wrote They Ask You Answer. You can go to their learning center. They've got a whole video library. I'd highly recommend you read the book, but you can also just look at their videos and see, like, what are they answering? What are the things that they're answering? What are their videos? Their video production is obviously great. Yours does not have to be. Yours can be, just throwing something together and in a selfie video. Over time, you're going to see the effectiveness of it and probably get someone to help you edit and whatnot. But there's so much power in having your face on the video. So much power. Great question. Really good question, actually. Really, really glad you asked that. So what was I doing? Yeah, so I was looking at that. I was looking at Descript there, the power of that. A lot of fun stuff you can do there. So guys, appreciate you. Unless there's another comment here, I'll probably wrap up and let you guys go out. And if you blocked out the whole hour, you've got a whole other 10 minutes. You can shoot a video. Think of a question right now. What's a question that you got asked in the last week by a customer? Might be hard for some of us if we've been doing this for a while and we haven't kind of been, having that switch on to think about when people are asking us questions to note that down. But think about a question and shoot a quick video. It might be crappy. You might hate it. One thing, if we go back to the friction point about, well, let me finish it. You might hate it, but do it anyway. Get that bad video. I'm going to say bad video in quotes out of you. But one of the things that I heard when I was starting it is, I think it was Mike Claudio actually with Win Rate Consulting. He said, he says this to all his clients that don't want to do video. He says, people are seeing your ugly mug anyway. So, if you don't like yourself on video, too bad. People are seeing that ugly face walk into their house and you're making the sale anyway. So just get on video, just do the thing that you need to do, get uncomfortable, make that thing happen. And, even if you feel as uncomfortable as where's my bear here? As a salmon in a bear hug, get out there, answer some people's questions and change some lives. Change your life, your family's life, your business's life by answering some questions. All right, guys, appreciate you coming on today. Appreciate the comments, appreciate the interaction as always, and ask me some questions. Shoot me a question on Facebook or on our website, and maybe you'll be featured in a video. Maybe I'll shoot a video answering your specific question so that we can help some more people. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Ooh, Andrew has a really good one here. Yeah, I didn't go that route. Use ChatGPT to help you with questions. Andrew, that's such a good point. Let's demonstrate that right now. So someone drop it. I went through my whole spiel and then Andrew came in with a zinger there. Someone give me, here's what we'll do. I'll just do this live with you. I am a plumbing company. Oh, you can't see my screen. One sec. Okay. I'm a plumbing company that wants to do the They Ask You Answer methodology. What questions should I answer for my clients? Candace says, I guess I'll be starring in my own show then. There could be worse things that I'm asked to do for my business. Andrew, I love it. This is solid content here. Appreciate it. All right, so you're a plumbing company using the They Ask You Answer methodology by Marcus Sheridan. Like, it already knows this stuff, and you can even ask it more things and more in depth. I just did a really quick one here for you guys. The goal is to obsess over customer questions, especially those that impact buying decisions. Start by addressing the big five. So we actually talked about the big five here. How much does it cost to hire a plumber? What's the average cost of repiping a house? How much does it cost to fix a leaking pipe? So like this one's specific. Even if you're not a plumber, think about this, right? You've got a leaky pipe and your partner says, this has got to be fixed and we've got to do it before the party on Saturday. It's got to be done, but like you kind of want to know what options you have, right? And how much is it going to cost? Is it going to be 100? Is it going to be 1,000? And so if you can do a video as a plumber saying, hey, the most common pipes we see leaking are kitchen, the trap under the kitchen. Maybe it's your faucets leaking. Maybe your pipe's leaking in your basement. And here's what goes into the cost. If it's behind a fully finished wall, it's going to cost more because we're going to have to tear it out. We're going to have to cut a hole in the wall. We're going to have to go in and fix it. We're going to have to diagnose where it is. So we might have to poke a few false holes in there. And then we're going to have to come in and get someone to fix the wall behind us. Whether we subcontract someone to do that or you do it, like there's costs involved, right? So you can go through that whole deal. And now you've just educated people, and someone who called you is probably going to have the same question. So try and think about that person who's asking. Try and think about Sally, the person who has a party coming up and she's like freaking out. Try and think about her and address those questions to her. So we can go down through here. What are the most common plumbing problems? Maybe you talk about water quality. Maybe you talk about all of that. Candace has a fantastic point here. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. You're going to be so critical of yourself. If I look back at some of my videos that got a ton of views, they're awful. They're really bad. But it works. And people got what they needed. They got the information. It just was, maybe not the delivery that I would do now, but it's the delivery that turned out to be what was needed. So here's an example. This video is our most viewed video. How to add I got ad blocker turned off, so it's going to run us through here. So look at that. Look at the video quality. Look at the person in the video, right? I can find so many things wrong with this, but it's a quick video to the point, and people have, really appreciated it. So answer people's questions. Get out there. Get uncomfortable, Candace. Use this video if you need of an uncomfortable Lewis in terrible lighting, and he hadn't shaved, and his hair is a mess, to inspire you to get out there and just answer the question. Because people need their question answered. They're going to get the answer from someone, whether it's from your video, from your website, from wherever. They're going to get that answer from someone, and they're going to hire someone, and it may as well be you. So anyway, we go back to here, but I mean, use this for anything you're doing. Use this for trunk removal, for dumpster rental, and run through there. And you can even say, hey, those are great. So don't just take the first answer. This is kind of 101 ChatGPT, but those are great. Let's get tactical with a bunch of questions around pricing. And tactical is misspelled, but I think it'll figure it out. All right, so pricing questions are one of the fastest ways to build trust, rank in Google, and convert more leads. So you've got sales, you've got your 24/7 salesperson working for you, you've got your SEO working for you, and you've got, once you get people to your website, you're converting them. So here's some general questions. Break down these with high and low range. What impacts cost? So how much does it cost to unclog a toilet? How much does hydrojetting cost? What's the cost of slab leak detection? Tank versus tankless. What's the difference? Why do I need to do that? Or, which should I buy? How much does it cost to repipe a house, to install a new shower? Maybe DIY Dan is doing his bathroom, but he doesn't want to actually do the plumbing. Well, that's a really helpful thing for him to know. So yeah, Candace says, super helpful. Thank you. Super valuable workshop. Appreciate it, Candace. Appreciate you being active. Andrew, awesome. Hail Mary there at the end. And everyone who showed up. Marvin, Candace, Jordan, Alex, Wesley, everyone in the comments and still on. Appreciate you guys. Reach out with questions to me or to our team, and we would love to help you. Until the next time, get out there and do a video. And please, guys, if you actually take action on this, it would absolutely make my day and my week and my year if you would let me know and just say, hey, here's an awful video that I think is awful, but I just did it and I put it up, and here's what's happening. That would just make my day. Those kind of messages are what make this so fun for me. All right, we'll talk soon. Cheers.